You're listening to the Sports on Tap High School Hockey Show featuring teams from the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. Here are your hosts, Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy, Sean Duffy, and Ed Dick.
And welcome, everyone, to Sports on Tap. I'm your host, Rob Troutman. We have Sean Duffy, Josh Jeffy, Ed Dick out on assignment, and we're live at Z's Creamin' Bean in Hinckley, Ohio. 2106 Boston Road, or 2706, I believe.
Oh,
Boston Road in
it's
Hinckley.
been quite a minute since we've been here.
I know. It's been a while since we've been on air.
True.
Yeah,
Enjoyed the nice break.
Yeah, enjoyed a little bit of a break, taking a break from high school football, and we're jumping into high school hockey. Obviously, high school basketball has also been in full swing, but
wrestling.
Yeah, pretty much all the winter sports.
Yes, be fair to
are
say.
rocking and rolling.
And I will say that with the mild and temperate weather that we've had over the last couple of weeks, there's been no major delays.
Except for the last 2 days.
Well, but there's been no major delays in games getting canceled because of weather, which is odd to say here in Northeast Ohio at this point in the year. So.
Well, and one thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to go over the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. Their season is underway. We'll go through the red, white, and blue divisions. We'll go over some of the matchups that have happened, the standings, keep you up to date on those. Some great player performances. And at 8 o'clock tonight, Ryan Kelber, who is president of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, will join us to talk a little bit about the changes, if there were any changes. There's always some changes to divisions with
there
teams.
were some division changes this year. So it'll be interesting to once again talk to Ryan, President Kelber, to get his take on it. Now, he's no longer coaching at Brooklyn. He's now just the president of the league. So we'll talk about that adjustment and see how he likes it thus far.
Yeah, and he's always busy, so we always appreciate him coming on our show. But we have a lot of exciting things, to look forward to with our coverage, going over the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. And we'll talk to Kelber about some fun things with the All-Star Draft and that game that's later on in the year, too. They do a great job with the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League with all the teams.
Yep.
Interested to see if they got more teams to come into the league. And we'll go over player performances, too, because there were some great performances and, some pretty fun things happening in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League.
And that's the one thing we always want to talk about here is that, I think it's like 45 or almost 50% of all hockey in the state of Ohio comes from this particular league when you talk about state representation in the state tournament. So there's a large percentage of high school hockey is played in this area, and, this is one of the bigger leagues that incorporates a lot of the public schools and some of the private schools as well, and really does a great job of promoting high school hockey within Northeast Ohio and really throughout the state.
Yeah, and their website, you could obviously go to shutout.com for all the overall stats, but Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League has a Facebook page and also a website you can go to with statistics, standings, all kinds of players with statistics, looking at who leads the league in goals or, goaltenders with the saves. And, it's really impressive. And you got to give credit to the coaches who every week or, after every game send it to the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. We know Joe Simon was the executive director. He did a great job setting that up for the league, and they've really built off it. And it's fun to go through. We'll go over briefly here before we talk to Kelber a little bit, just go over some of the standings and kind of what's happening in the league a little bit. Josh, you want to start off? We'll start off in that red division.
Yeah, sure, Rob. Red division, is the big teams in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. And thus far, now we're just looking at the standings. Rob, you got the overall standings. I'm actually looking at just league standings right now, and that's not with holiday tournaments and all that stuff. And right now, the teams are getting geared up to really get into league standings. And Sean, you mentioned that most of the high school hockey in Ohio come from this area and specifically this league. And so with the amount of teams that they have, it's a little difficult to get really a lot of these teams that go far in the state tournament. So when we're talking Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, really the default kind of state tournament is the Barron Cup, which will be live at later on next month, and that's what these teams are gearing up for, trying to get their position for the Barron Cup already.
And some are even trying to make the Barron Cup. I mean, that's
exactly.
I think if you ask any coach in their program in this league is to make Barron Cup, is to qualify. Whether you're in the red division, I think the top 4 teams in each division make it, and then in each region or however they set it up, the red league, in the central and northeast, and then it's only the top 2 in the white and blue leagues in each division that make it. So, for the red division, a lot of this is for seeding, but again, there's also teams scraping in there to try and make Barron Cup, to try and make it difficult on the so-called better teams in that division, and make a run, and that's the issue, and that's the one thing that I think we can really look at and see. Like, it's no wonder when you look at the state hockey championships, 2 or 3 of these teams in the final 4 usually come out of this league, whether it's red, whether it's blue, whether it's white. Last year Rocky River had a great run in the state tournament, and came up a little bit short. Brooklyn was in there for a little bit. Obviously they didn't end the way they wanted it to. And that's the fun thing about this, is you're getting a preview of what the state tournament is going to be. And as Josh so eloquently put there, this is the de facto
for the teams in the league.
Yeah, for this is the state qualifying tournament. You make Barron Cup, that's getting, and you're making a case for the state tournament. Every team makes the state tournament, but you have a little bit, you get that high school hockey competition. And the competition is fierce. So a lot of these teams are gearing up and getting a lot of time on the ice, and a lot of competitive time on the ice. I mean, you want to win the Barron Cup. I mean, that's the way it works. So definitely the red league, as we can go over it here, and I'll just jump in if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Look right at it. We'll start off in the Central Division right now, holding a number 1 seed, and again, we're just going off league record here. 6-1 Kenston in the Central.
And that's league.
That's just league. 6-1. They have 12 points overall. They played 7 games. They are followed by Strongsville in second, and they at 4-3. And then it gets a little bit dicey here. North Olmsted, Benedict, and Solon all just sitting in there with 1 win league play. So there's a pretty good separation in the Central Division of the Red League here. And that's, Kenston and Strongsville really kind of taking the top 2 slots there. And then I think there's more of a dogfight for 3 and 4. Northeast Division, Menor is 5-0 and 1 tie. They are followed by number 2 Rocky River, who's 4-1-1. Cleveland Heights, who's 4-2-0, and Hudson, who's 1-4-0. So when you look at these two, divisions here, Central and Northeast, you see these, a lot. It seems to me, based on league record here, a lot of competition in the Northeast League, whereas there's a clear separation in the Central League between Kenston and Strongsville. North Olmsted could pop in there, but again, when you look at these teams, when they all just have the one league win, it does, create a lot of separation. But in the Northeast Division, you have realistically 3 teams probably that could easily be within fighting for a first place nod or something like that. So, that there's a lot of parity in the Northeast division here, and maybe not so much in the Central Division.
Well, and looking at the Red Northeast, I mean, Menor overall, their overall record is 18-3-2, 2 being the ties. Rocky River 12-7-2, Cleveland Heights at 11-6-2, and we talked to Eddie Babcock Cox last year, and he had a really young team. Last year, so it's going to be interesting to see how they turn out. And Rocky River last year, like you said, with a big run in Menor, 18 wins this year, separating themselves there. And Hudson at 9-9-1, which is not bad. And Sean, you went over Kenston, and they're 6-4 this year. Strongsville at 12-8, and I think these are overall records.
Yeah. Kenston 16-4.
16-4.
What'd I say?
6-4.
16-4.
See, now you're dropping them 10 wins. They're not going to talk to us anymore.
Yeah, that's not good. That's way off.
Well, I guess we can count Kenston off the guess list.
But, looking at Kenston, let's look at Menor. Goals for, they have 138 goals this year and only have given up 46 and a plus 92. I think when you look at that mark, that's one of the best in the league. But we haven't even gone over the White South with Amherst Steel. And we talked to them last year and some of their players. They're at 18-2 this year. A lot of strong teams. It's still early. I think every time we do a show in February, you're looking at the teams that are right there. And now's the time for some of these teams to maybe start, separating a little bit. But Menor came off hot out of the gates. And very impressive 82% win total so far this year.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting when you look at teams that are, again, aggressive. I think that's the big word, is that Menor probably has been notoriously, or not notoriously, but traditionally an aggressive team. We talked to a lot of coaches last year and some this year where they're really preaching being aggressive, pushing the puck into the opposing zone, putting pressure on the defense, putting pressure on the goalie to make saves, and that aggressiveness leads to a lot of goals and a lot of potential points. And I think we're seeing that with teams that embrace that concept, the upper echelon teams, especially in the red division, the quote unquote big boy league, the big guy league, whatever they want to call it. You get an aggressive team versus, say, a team that's maybe playing a little bit more defensive or trying to be more to pick up the pace, and a team that's used to being aggressive and that's their philosophy. You really see the delineation between the two teams. It's a lot. It looks like a faster hockey team as opposed to a team that may be trying to find its way or trying to kind of stem the tide a little bit. It's really interesting when you look at some of the statistics, specifically for the goalies here, and I'm just kind of going over goalie statistics because those are the big ones. I mean, I think as much as you want to be aggressive, you can see that scoring can come from any place on the ice, but there's only one person that's really in charge of stopping that puck from going in the net. And it's no surprise here that when you look at the top goalies, when you say give them a 5-game, those that played 5 games or so, the best the teams that are in first place have obviously the best goalies. There's a clear correlation between that. If you could stop the other team from scoring and allow your team to be aggressive, you're going to win a lot of games, and that's what we're seeing. I mean, Luke Bell has a save percentage of 95%. He has goals against. I think he's only given up 10.
In 6 games,
In 6 games, yeah. But I mean,
the same thing goes for Kenston. Kenston, they're a very aggressive team. They score a lot of goals, but they also have a really good goalie, Jason Hildebrand. He's played 315 minutes on the year, so he's played a lot.
Yeah.
He's faced 235 shots, saved 222 of them. He's got a 6-1 record, but that goes along with you, Sean. He's doing a real good job, and same with the Kenston defense, but they're also scoring a lot, so they're aggressive. So good goaltending, good defense leads to fast offense, and Kenston, which is no surprise, on the top of the Red Central, they lead their tops in both categories, offense and goalie.
Well, we'll quickly go over the White North and the White South, just to go over their records, their overall records, and then the Blue North and Blue South, just to cover that before we bring on Ryan Kelber, who's president of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. He'll be coming on at 8 o'clock, so we'll get to go over some of the changes there and talk to him about the league in general. And when you look at the White North, it's Kent Roosevelt leading the way in the White North, 16-8, and they have 128 goals and a plus 51. Orange in second at 10-9. Canfield 8-6-2. Western Reserve at 5-10, and then Chagrin Falls at 3-15. That being the White North. And now here's a little bit what we said earlier. The White South, Amherst Steel, the Comets at 18-2. They have 137 goals for, only giving up 17. They have a plus 120 on the year. Avon Lake at 12-7-3 is in second. Olmsted Falls 8-1 in third. Midview at 7-3. And Avon 4-14-3. But we know Avon Lake last year, guys, they were a team that got into the playoffs. I think they were also on the verge of possibly not making the playoffs. They snuck in, and they did some damage when they made the Barron Cup.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right with that, Rob. They got in barely, and then made a very, very good run in that tournament. Surprising to me is Kent Roosevelt, and the reason I say this is because they got a lot of fan support out there for the Rough Rider hockey team, and the reason I say that is because on my own Twitter feed, I'm inundated with Kent Roosevelt hockey updates. Whoever's rocking the Kent Roosevelt hockey Twitter, you are doing a fantastic job. I don't know what half of what you're saying means, but it sounds pretty good. But yeah, I mean, Kent Roosevelt's having a great year. I think Amherst again have a great year. If you look at the league standings,
yeah, it's a little more competitive in the White North. Yeah. With the exception of Chagrin Falls, who have yet to get off the schneid, you have the top 4 teams: Kent Roosevelt, Canfield, Orange, and Western Reserve, all within striking distance of each other. So they're going to be fighting for seeding. And in the White South, Amherst Steel again undefeated so far in league play, followed closely only 2 games back by Avon Lake. Midview's up there as well as Olmsted Falls. Avon's got 2 wins on the year. They're not out of it yet, but
3 ties for Avon too.
Yeah.
So that's if those could have went either way and pulled off. Well, that's an overall though.
Yeah, overall. We're just talking right now league play, and this division is still, like we said, we're just getting into it, so still wide open.
Yeah.
So we'll see if maybe Avon Lake can capture some of that late season magic and kind of overtake Amherst. That's going to be a dogfight to the end. It's going to be awesome to see.
And Amherst, or actually Menor, we were talking a little earlier, they've had some close games with Shaker Heights, so they've dominated a lot so far this year, but you never know what can happen in the next month and a half. But we'll move to the Blue North and the Blue South. Overall, Parma leads the Blue North at 17-4. They have 147 goals with a plus 92. Normandy at 16-3. So 2 Parma schools in the Blue North leading the way, in Normandy at a plus 101. 136 goals for them. Then you have CVCA with a 14-5 record. Aurora at 10-7. Lakewood 8-13. Brecksville 5-9. Mayfield at 3-13-1. Then NDCL at 1-16. Then the Blue South, you have Brooklyn at 9-5-1. These are all overall records so far. Westlake at 8-6. Nordonia 7-9. Twinsburg 7-11. Elyria Catholic 4-5. Bay at 2-11. Garfield Heights at 0-7, and then Brush at 0-10. And a lot of these, you'll notice Elyria Catholic 4-5 record. A lot of these, it depends also on the tournament play. Some of these teams don't necessarily play all the tournaments that say a Menor or an Amherst play. So obviously their records are not as high, but overall it's very competitive, both of these leagues. And Parma Normandy right at the top, only 1 game separates them there. Brooklyn, they lose Ryan Kelber as head coach, and they're still at the top of their Blue South division.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well, and when it comes to the Barron Cup for this division, this is where it gets very interesting because for the for the Barron Cup tournament, only 8 teams make the tournament, and how they broke it down this year, and just to give you kind of an idea, the tournament, this year's Barron Cup is going to be February 4th through the 10th at the Brooklyn Rec Center. And for Barron Cup 3, which is this blue division, the Blue League, the Blue North will get seeds 1 through 5 in this one, and the South will get seeds 6, 7, and 8, and that's all based on standings. So this is where league play is going to come into play. The previous, the 2 leagues, the white and the red, teams will vote on who gets seeded 1 through 8. This is the only one of the 3 leagues that is based on standings. So this is going to be the division to watch as far as when we get closer to the Barron Cup to see who makes it. So especially in the Blue South, it's important to get, obviously, those top 3 seed, that top 3 in the standings.
Yeah, and I was way off. Actually, it's early February that this happens. So they don't have a month and a half. They have maybe a short month. Oh wait, we have some guests coming to visit. Hold on, let's put a headset on as Pamela, Jeffy, and family want to come here and talk. So they want to talk about high school hockey.
I think they want ice cream. So is what I'm gathering.
Well, we're
I'm
live
sure
here at Zeem's Cream and Bane. You never know who they're
Zeem's?
going to. Whatever. You never know who
Z's.
they're going to allow to come in here. Yes, my family's here right now staring at me
Weird.
after they enjoyed their ice cream. And my wife came up here talking a little trash. Does she want to get on?
Here, I'll
So what are
gladly
your-
give her my headset.
What are your thoughts on
We
Bear,
could-
on
The Barron Cup 3.
Bear Cup 3?
No, they
But Rob-
enjoyed their ice cream. Did anybody have milkshakes up here?
No one had milkshakes?
No, just all ice
You
cream.
guys are missing out.
What kind of ice cream did we have? Chocolate? What'd you have? Ooh, Buckeye Bites. Actually, that's one of my favorite with the peanut butter. What were
I'm
they?
gonna
Peanut
have
butter
one.
cups in there? Ooh.
I got to eat my dinner.
Oh, little Buckeyes. That's right. Those are good. What else? What did you have? You had the
Buckeye ice
Buckeye.
cream.
A lot of Buckeye fans up here.
What'd you have?
Sean loves that. Oh, they're hiding.
Well, I got
They
two
ran away.
that talked, one that one of
okay.
that's hiding. But
I'm sure it was good. I'm jealous. I got to get me some ice cream here in a little bit.
Me too.
Soon.
After I drink this coffee.
all right, bye everyone.
They're always fun.
Thanks for stopping
See you
by. To go back to your point, Rob, I will say that, we're starting to get actually into crunch time for a lot of these teams. Again, a lot of these teams play, their league games right after Christmas. They take advantage of the Christmas break when school's not in session, so they're able to kind of get a lot of games in. And now we're having them come back. This is really the first week for a lot of schools that are back in school.
Yeah, they do holiday tournaments.
Right, that all count towards league play.
They don't count towards league play. The holiday tournaments.
Oh, they don't. You're
then
right.
they get into the league. Like I said, the crux of the league schedule starts now, and this is where you're gearing up to do some Barron Cup action, which again will happen February 4th to the 10th.
Yeah, so forget my month and a half.
That's okay.
We got less than a month, easy. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, it's exciting to see who's on the bubble at that point in time, and excited to see who makes it and who's hot going into the tournament. Right now is the time to really get a little streak if you're one of these teams. And obviously a lot of teams have had some big-time streaks. When I looked at Menner's stats so far, they've actually lost 2 out of their last 4, but how are they going to recover? I mean, good teams recover. They lost an overtime one, then Shaker Heights won 7-1 in their last contest. But, Menner's a team that has just racked up a ton of wins and been impressive this year. And I can't wait to really see some of the teams that are fighting. Benedictine's at 7-11. Strongsville's having a great year at 12-8. Right up the street here from Z's Cream and Bean. So what we're going to do now, though, we're going to take a short break. We're live at Z's Cream and Bean, so come on up here. I know it's cold outside, but I'll tell you what.
They have coffee. They
do.
Very good coffee.
And hot chocolate.
I like their hot chocolate, but I have to get ice cream when I'm here, or a chocolate milkshake.
Yeah, I'm going to get a
love it.
milkshake too.
Oh, I'm going to get that before. There are people lining up here, coming up to Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley. I want to thank everyone for listening. You can catch us at SOT Podcast on Twitter. We have all kinds of great stuff on there. Our website is sportsontappodcast.com. All these are archived on YouTube, so you can go back and listen to all of these broadcasts as well on our YouTube page, and we'll have it on our website as well. Check us out on Instagram and all over social media. NEO Sports Insiders were on there as well, all over the place. So I want to thank everyone for taking time to join us. All right, we'll be right back. We're Sports on Tap, live from Z's Cream and Bean. Ryan Kelber, president of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, is coming up next. Listen to our shows live on Mixer or join us the first Monday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, located at 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley. Want to listen to past shows? Go to our YouTube page or website, www.sportsontappodcast.com.
SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the place to go where you can listen to past shows, read featured articles, check out all of our social media updates, plus much, much more. SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the official website of Sports on Tap.
For up-to-the-minute info on local high school sports action, including photos, videos, and live updates, be sure to follow Sports on Tap on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook.
Listen to our shows live on Mixer or join us the first Monday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, located at 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley. Want to listen to past shows? Go to our YouTube page or website, www.sportsontappodcast.com.
SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the place to go where you can listen to past shows, read featured articles, check out all of our social media updates, plus much, much more. SportsOnTapPodcast.com, the official website of Sports on Tap.
For up-to-the-minute info on local high school sports action, including photos, videos, and live updates, be sure to follow Sports on Tap on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook.
Welcome back out to Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio. We're Sports on Tap. I'm Rob Trump. We have Sean Duffy, Josh, Jeffy, Ed Dick out on assignment. And I know Ryan would love to have been able to hear that song because what an absolute great song to play is a little DMB. And now joining us via the RRT Productions hotline is President of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, Ryan Kelber. And Ryan, thanks for taking time to join us here tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be followed by a good classic Dave Matthews song.
Rob, please address him as Mr. President.
Yeah, I know. Ryan, would you like us to talk to you as Mr. President? Do you like that better than Ryan?
Let's just stick with the Ryan part. I try to use Mr. President only on certain occasions.
Well, we know you took over a new role, with Cuyahoga Heights. You're the athletic director there, but you're still president of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. How has both jobs been going for you? I'm sure it's a little hectic now, especially with Barron Cup coming up in early February.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, I'll say that. And Joe Simon, our former executive director, did such a great job with us and put us in a great position on social media and on our website and setting a lot of new things up for us. So that was, Joe put us in a great spot. Trying to fill his shoes, I don't think I'll ever be able to do that, but been able to try to juggle both roles right now. And I give a lot of credit to the coaches, though. They've stepped up with their roles here and entering stats and scores and everything else. So we've been running along pretty smooth here.
Yeah, and looking, when we did talk to Joe, I know that coaches play such a huge part in the league. And talk a little bit about your website. That's where the stats and the standings and everything comes from. The coaches that send you guys all the information, then you guys input it into your website. Where can people, that are listening to this, that are in the league, can find the standings and statistics if they don't know already?
So our main website is www.GCHSHL.net. That'll take you to the page. It separates it by blue, white, and red. And it has information about Barron Cup. It has some previous records and some previous results. As you go to each division, you can click on player stats, standings. That'll take us to our Sportability website. That's the website where the coaches have played such an active role in entering stats for their teams and all that. So they'll send scores in and stats into myself here, and I kind of monitor that. But a lot of credit goes to the coaches. They go on after a game. They'll enter the stats for their team within usually that night or the next day. So it keeps it pretty current on that site. But a lot of credit goes to the coaches for that.
Yeah, and I know you guys are up to date on your Facebook page as well, so they can always go to Facebook and see. You guys always did a great job with pictures and obviously some great matchups and stuff that you guys posted on there. But, talking a little bit about this season, every year there's some changes, whether it's division changes with teams moving up, some teams moving down. Talk a little bit about the changes that you guys made in this league. I know you guys usually vote on some of the changes. You talk to a lot of coaches. Obviously, they have a huge part in this from the respective schools. Talk about the changes in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League this year.
Every year or every other year, we try to reevaluate our teams, see how we can put them in the best position so that everybody's competitive. Some say it's a long, drawn-out process, which it was this past year, but I felt like we got it right for the most part, and that's what makes our league so special is, you can be in a conference for – schools are in their conferences, and they've been in some conferences for years and all that. You can have your bottom dwellers that are always there. Well, what we try to do in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League is try to move that around so that every team's competitive within their division. So, if you look at the blue has predominantly been a great division for schools that are maybe low on numbers or have a lot of beginner skaters. And you can still be in that division and still be competitive. The white is more so, or you have a little bit more experienced players, but your numbers aren't really great. And then your red is your top teams usually their numbers are good and they have a lot more experienced players. Mostly their roster's made up of kids that have played before high school. Compared to the blue, you're going to have a team maybe, that has a lot of kids that just started in the high school and maybe just a few skaters that were playing beforehand. So that's what's great about our league. It keeps it competitive. Teams can move up and down and all that. We try to limit too much action, and we don't want one league to have that many more. I mean, it's going to happen. Like right now, the blue has 16 teams. Well, I can look at the Blue South, and the majority of those teams have a lot of new beginner skaters. So it's just one of those times right now where, some of those teams in the blue, they're just trying to recruit kids right now to keep their team going. In the red right now, we only have 9, so 8 are going to make the Barron Cup.
Yeah.
And in the white, we have 10. 8 are going to make the Barron Cup, and then in the blue, like I said, we have 16. But we've done a good job with that. It's a long, drawn-out process. I think if you ask a couple of the ADs, sometimes they're tired of those meetings. But in the end, I think it's best for everybody.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ryan, this is Josh. Looking at the Barron Cup, and you know how you guys change, could possibly change teams in divisions. We talked about how the tournament format is. For Barron Cup 1, teams vote seeds 1 through 8. And then 2, same thing, teams vote 1 through 8. And then the Barron Cup 3, it's a little different. It's by standings. Do you change that tournament format for the Barron Cup every year depending on the amount of teams that you have? Or does that generally stay the same?
No, that's a great question. And last year, changing the divisions and kind of creating the divisions took a long time, took longer than we usually do. And all the ADs from all these teams met together in a couple meetings and kind of hashed out what would work best. So with the low amount of teams in the red and in the white, the ADs sat together with myself and Joe and said, hey, what's the best format we can do on this? Now, when it comes time to the state tournament, you rank teams and you seed them for sectionals. So that's based on your resume and your records and all that. So we figured, hey, let's try that for the Barron Cup. We do it for states. Why not do it here? Instead of just ranking, if the red north east, instead of giving them the 1 seed and all that. Since they're playing crossovers, let's go in at the next meeting or in the meeting right before the Barron Cup and let's rank them. And that's how we're going to determine that. So this is the first time we've ever done that. It's always usually set beforehand. Usually it's 4 and 4, or if we know one division's a little stronger than the other, then we'll give that division a little bit more. You see that in the blue because we know that the blue north has some stronger schools. So we felt that division deserved at least one more Barron Cup berth than the south. So that's why it's a 5-3 there. But the other, in the white and the red, with just the amount of teams we have, we thought this was the best way to go about the Barron Cup. And the ADs are going to be voting with, obviously, advice from their coaches on who the 1 seed is all the way through to the 8 seed.
Yeah, I think it's interesting the way you guys have that, and you guys do, like you said, it's a great job out of you guys. I know maybe for the ADs and stuff, it could be a long process to move schools up or down, but like you said, the competitiveness every year I think is impressive when you look at how many, like you said, skaters they have or inexperience in the blue south and the blue north. And I feel like it's fun for the kids, especially when they're in a division where it's on an equal playing field. Obviously, if you have somebody in the blue south going up against a team in the red, it might not be as fun for some of the kids if it's a 15-0 score every single time. So I think you guys do a great job, and it takes time, but I think you guys are doing it the right way. And one thing that we noticed that you guys always have fun at, we were a part of, I think the last, 2 or 3 years now, is the All-Star game that you guys have.
The draft.
Yeah, the draft that we're a part of. And, I mean, now that's fun for the kids to listen live. The coaches are there talking and picking players.
And this year, Kelber will not be picking a team. He'll be running the show, so to speak, so he can't get yelled at by his own players like he did the past couple of years.
Yeah, that always made it fun. But do you look forward, and I know, what's been the turnout with the All-Star game, from whether it's coaches, whether it's players, whether it's the parents? What kind of turnout have you had and kind of comments from them about the All-Star game?
Yeah, we've had a great response to the All-Star game and the format and how we've done it. So that was something new too that we've we did here the past few years. And we figured, how can we change this up to make this a little bit more interesting? And I give a lot of credit to the Monsters and specifically their youth program coordinator, David Aiken. He's been willing to work with us, and he'll bring me an idea. He's very involved. He's played hockey, and he coaches some youth leagues, so he has knowledge of the sport and everything else. And he brings ideas to me, and we kind of sit down and say, all right, what would make this the most entertaining but unique experience? So it starts with the draft, and I know the NHL, I think, was the first sport to have a draft like this. And I don't think that, or the NHL, I don't think that they do it anymore, but it worked really well with us. It got kids involved, listening to it, and the coaches loved it too. And I know you guys loved it, and I loved it.
Oh, yeah. It was a blast.
Yes, and instead of just putting two teams together with 25 kids on a team and, you don't get much ice time, we said, hey, how can we make this even better? So we did 4 teams, and we're trying to do a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4 format so that the kids can get out there more. It's shorter games, but more kids are playing. And it's worked out really well. I mean, I'm glad actually I'm not coaching because I think I'm 0-8 or I'm sorry, 0-4 so far with that. But so I'll just be a spectator this year. But yeah, we got a great response to it, and we've had nothing but positive remarks. I think the Monsters even said they had some great sales with tickets, and it's always followed by a Monsters game that night. And I believe this year we have a date set for March 8th. It's a Friday night, so we'll be able to come on down and watch that All-Star game, grab something to eat, and then watch the Monsters right after. So we're still figuring out a date for the draft. Usually we do that the week before. We try to look at the sectional district hockey schedule so that we can get everybody there, all the coaches there. And then, we're definitely excited to have you guys be there again. And hopefully we can get you guys there, too, at the actual game, doing some play-by-play.
So, hey, we'll definitely take you up on that. So, just say that again, Ryan, because you kind of broke up a little bit. So, the All-Star game itself is going to be March 8th. That's a Friday.
Friday, March 8th will be our All-Star game or competition because it's made up of 4 games. So you have two games initially, and then the 2 winners meet and the 2 losers.
So, just like last year's game, that game started around the event started around noon. Is that going to be the same this year?
Well, last year I believe we did it on a weekend.
Yeah, it was on a Sunday.
It was actually St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
So, with this being on a Friday, and there's rules and limitations with the AHL about how soon you have to get off the ice. We can't just get off the ice 20 minutes before the Monsters warm up. So we haven't had determined times yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be like a late afternoon start where we'll have these games, and then we'll have at least 3 games. I don't know if we'll do a consolation one, but we'll at least have the 3 games, and then they'll be followed by the Monsters game right after. So we don't have time set yet, but I'm guessing, if we want to do it comfortably, probably a 2 or 3 o'clock start.
Nice.
On that Friday.
Very cool.
All right, Ryan. So we're gearing up. We have about a month, a little less than a month to the Barron Cup. Now we're getting into to league play. So, how you could kind of go back to your coaching days, even your playing days. Is this the time of the year where the teams really ramp up and start to really concentrate on winning those league games?
Yeah, a lot of people get the post-holiday blues here, and I think this is one of the best times of the year because it's so much hockey going on here in January leading up to the Barron Cup. And what's so special about the Barron Cup is that this is the state title for a majority of these teams. Hockey, OHSA only has 1 division for hockey. So, and we know it's pretty much the last couple of years it's been dominated by St. Ignatius, but mostly those higher parochial schools. A few years ago, Shaker Heights and Rocky River made a great run, and that was great for the public schools. But this Barron Cup acts like the state title for a lot of them. So you'd almost kind of, if you were breaking it down by divisions, you'd say, all right, the red is a D1 and the white is a D2 and the blue is a D3 state tournament. So it's exciting. It gives kids an opportunity to play. And looking, at the standings right now, it's wide open. We have a lot of parity amongst the league right now. I guess if anything, you could see Amherst Steel right now has been pretty dominant in the white. And if anybody gets a chance to go watch them, they're such a fun team to watch. So well coached. They run a cycle where it's a very basic offensive scheme, but they do it, and they do it so well. And they just dominate teams. You look at them, and you're like, all right, this team probably doesn't look too intimidating. but they execute and they run their plays to perfection, and that's what's given them so much success here. But in the red, I mean, you have Menor, River, Heights, and Hudson, and I know Heights knocked off River last week or a couple weeks ago on what could have been an upset, but Heights is sitting there at 4-2. They're right there. So Princeton's been 6-1. Amongst the 8 teams that are going to make it, I could see anybody beating anybody up there, especially between Menor, River, Heights, and Princeton and Strongsville. In the white, like I said, I talked about Amherst Steel, but Avon Lake had such a good run last year. They dominated the blue, and then when they went to sectionals, they ended up making a good run too, and they went all the way and had a competitive game with Rocky River. So I wouldn't count out Avon Lake from the white either. And then in the blue, you have the 2 Parma schools, Parma, Normandy, and then CVCA's right there. And then Aurora just knocked off Parma here recently. And in the South, hey, kudos again to Brooklyn. There was a chance they weren't even going to have a team this year, and I think they're up to maybe 15 kids now. So kudos to them. And Twinsburg has had a little resurgence here, and even Westlake's been in a good division. Because Westlake came from the white where they struggled, and they're fitting in nicely here in the blue division.
Yeah, 8-1 Brooklyn right there, and we've seen Westlake, a little bit during this season. I get updates from their athletic director, and they're at 7-2. But like you said, it's really wide open right now, and there still is a few weeks here to play. I mean, at first I said on the air that we have a month and a half, and then I looked and I'm like, oh man, we only have a few weeks. What am I talking about?
I wish I had a month and a half to prepare there. Right?
Oh, I'm sure, because I know how crazy it is. Barron Cup, is a busy time for you. And I know you're prepping for it right now and probably getting ready for it, because I know with all these teams coming out, it's awesome to be a part of. It's a special experience, and just to see that Barron Cup trophy, I mean, that is really something special and to be a part of. So we really appreciate you taking time to come on our show, especially with your busy schedule tonight.
I appreciate you having me, and I'm hoping we get some good weather so that'll enable us to get some good crowds for the Barron Cup. And I think the Brooklyn Rec is one of the best places to watch a high school hockey game. So, February 4th starts it. We're going to have 4:30, 6:30, and 8:30 games. We have 21 games that week. And like I said, with the parity that I see so far in the divisions, looks like it's going to be a great week of hockey.
Good games, of course.
Yeah, we always have some classics. And like you said, it's always fun to watch. Like last year was Avon Lake that, just squeaked into the playoffs and had some upsets under their belt in last year's Barron Cup, and we'll see what team pulls off some upsets this year, and
yes.
Who's the hot team going into the Barron Cup. A lot to see, and still time left. President of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, Ryan Kelber, thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon about the Barron Cup.
Sounds good. Hey, guys, I appreciate you having me on and promoting the sport here.
No problem.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Ryan.
Appreciate you coming on.
Take care. We'll see you guys soon.
All right. Take care. Thanks, Ryan.
Bye-bye.
All right. That's Ryan Kelber of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. He is president, and, he does such a great job breaking down high school hockey, whether it's going over the divisions. He's just so good for the high school hockey league.
Yeah, and he's been in it for a long time. He growing up playing hockey, played in high school. He's always been around the game of some sort, and that's what you need. He's very passionate about it, very competitive guy, and he wants to make it the best, and he's doing a great job. And as you can see, he talked about it, parity in the league, and we kind of mentioned it again. Parity in the league, and that's what they're striving for every year when they look to redo the divisions, maybe move some teams up, move some teams down. And it all depends on what the schools are doing as well. Some, like you mentioned, Brooklyn, which is, a kind of a classic hockey school, this year wasn't a lot of interest, and there was talks that maybe they wouldn't have a team, but they came out and they formed a team, and they're playing real well right now. They're ahead of the Blue South, looking to get one of those spots in Barron Cup 3. So there's a lot involved with the league this big, and there's so many variables. But you need some good not only do you need good leadership on top of the league, but you need good cooperation from the not only athletic directors but from the coaches themselves, and they actually have that going on right now. And it's going to be, like you mentioned, February 4th, or like he mentioned, February 4th, that's when the Bear Cup starts. And as we mentioned, that's for a lot of teams the state tournament.
Yeah.
So you're getting that team's best hockey. It's very enthusiastic. There, a lot goes into it.
A lot of passion.
Passion. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Sean. You read my mind. And that's what's fun about it, and that's what's fun about covering this league.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to being a part of the All-Star Draft. And obviously it'd be fun to be going to Quicken Loans Arena and maybe announcing the All-Star game.
So we may have had some breaking news there. Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll work on it. Maybe you'll hear the Sports on Tap do play-by-play of the Barron Cup if we can. We'll see. That'll be interesting.
I'll do the. I might actually bring my son out to that game. He doesn't have school that day, and might check out a Monsters game afterwards.
Check it out.
Yeah. So, but
We'll see.
I will say this: the one thing that strikes me about Ryan Kelber and the job that they do is, just as Josh mentioned, the moving parts that go into making this league work, and not only making it work, because you can put anybody who wants to play hockey, come play in our league. But the way they care about the sport and care about growing the sport, they really take into account, one, competitiveness, parity, but also really fairness. It wouldn't be fair for a team, say Brooklyn, who may not have a team right now, going up against an established team, consistently in and out there in the red division. Vice versa, you wouldn't want you could even have those teams that are really good not finding the competition that they want because there's regionally. So you have to. There's so many moving parts, and it's such a really. You got to really have a passion for this, and that's the one thing that I really like about Ryan Kelber and the job that they do at the GCHSHL, because they are trying to grow the sport, but they're also being stewards of the game itself. They're trying to get interest, but they're also trying to make it so that kids aren't intimidated by coming out. They actively go into school and say, "Hey, come out and play hockey. Give it a shot." And you don't have to be Wayne Gretzky. You don't have to be, a professional hockey player. Come out and play. Learn to skate. Do something different. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. But that's what I like about, this league overall, is that it can be kids who have never put on skates before to kids who've been playing ice hockey since they were 10 years old. And they're all playing each other, and it's competitive, and it keeps the interest of the kids. So, and again, we have yet to go to a Barron Cup where you don't see a great game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't think we've seen a blowout yet at the Barron Cup. It's been highly competitive, even in the earlier rounds, which we usually catch because that's how our schedule breaks down. But, even in those earlier games, it's 1-2 2-goal games maybe. And a lot of passion and a lot of great hockey and a lot of fun high school hockey. So if you want to try something new, you want to do a sport, I definitely encourage you to check out this website and go find a rink near you and go out and check out some really good high school hockey, because in the state of Ohio, you're going to see the biggest concentration of high school hockey in this area.
Yep.
We're in a target-rich environment for the sport.
Yeah, and if you really love high school hockey and you want to get involved, contact Ryan Kelber. I'm sure there's a lot of different things with the league. Yeah, he has all kinds of time.
He's got nothing but free time.
So give him a call or check out the website and contact them if you want to get involved. And real quickly, I just want to give credit to some of the player statistics a little bit this year. Starting in just the red division, for Kenston, Val Carrero has 28 points. He has 17 goals on the year. Kenston leading the way. Also Nolan Weaver of Rocky River, Bennett Wenger of Kenston. Also, they both have 17 points. Kyle Baxton of Menor. Menor has some great players right there, leading the way. And for goaltenders in the red division, as it loads up here, looking at some of the minutes, Jason Hildebrand of Kenston, 315 minutes and a 94% save percentage. Very impressive. But Luke Bell of Strongsville, what a year, 95%, and he's blocked 194 shots so far this season. So, that's the red division when you look at statistics. So really putting up some great numbers there. Now let's go to the white. And, looking at some of the stats, Amherst right there, 36 points by Jacob Kramer. I know we've mentioned that name before, and Jacob Fakiti of Amherst with 31, and they each have 17 goals apiece. Nick Creston of Kent Roosevelt with 15 goals, 26 points. A lot of scoring in this league, at least 16 or higher points from at least 10 players there in the league. And Nick Verlotti of Midview with 25 points. So impressive stats out of the white division there. Now going to the goaltenders, it's Brady Grove of Amherst. He's played in 8 games, 92 saves, 95% save percentage. Midview, Braden Rapp at 406 minutes, 188 saves. And how about this save percentage of Dylan Eslaxon of Avon Lake, 256 saves, a 91% save percentage. Great job from you guys there. Some of these saves are always incredible. 256 on the year. Now let's go down to the blue division in Brooklyn. It's Aaron Roast. He has 41 points, 32 goals on the season. Matt Higginbotham of Parma Senior High School with 39 points right behind him with 27 goals and 12 assists. And Gavin Supek of Brooklyn with 34 points, 22 goals on the year. And then CVCA, it's Christian Beckett. He has 31 points, 21 goals on the year. So congratulations to them. And goaltender statistics, one last statistic before we leave Z's Cream and Bean. You can always come up here and enjoy their ice cream, chocolate milkshakes. They do have coffee
Fantastic
and hot
coffee.
chocolate. I'm about to get, I usually have a twist. Sometimes I'll get, a chocolate milkshake, which is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to have a twist?
Have the twist, which is vanilla ice cream and chocolate chip. I know it's about to blow your mind, me saying that, but it's classic.
I'm 35 years old. I've seen a twist before.
Hopefully not me doing the twist because
Wow.
it's not
Yeah, I
perfect.
was going to say not too much because you might not get up from it.
I definitely won't.
Looking at the goalie statistics in the blue division, for Westlake, it's Max Novak of Westlake, 119 saves on the year. Great job out of him. Gabe Hernandez, he's only played in 2 games, but he has 19 saves on 19 shots. That's perfect for you math majors out there. Looking at Normandy, it's Sam Benayamin, it looks like. I thought it was Benjamin at first, but if I said any of these names wrong, I'm sorry, and you can email our show at Sports on Tap Podcast. I probably shouldn't have gave that at gmail.com. But great job there. And looking at Brooklyn, Jason Edmonds, he's played 404 minutes, 228 saves on the season. And Colin Pinson of Parma Senior High School with 144 saves on the year. So those are some of the stats in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. Always fun. And we'll be out at the Barron Cup out at Brooklyn High School. February 4th through the 10th. We won't be out there every day. We'll pick a date and post it on our website, which is sportsontap.podcast.com.
And we'll be doing our show live from the Brooklyn Rec Center for, I believe, the 4th year now that we've done it, or 3rd?
At least I thought it was at least 4th.
But yeah, I think this is the 4th year. And
so.
Yeah, this is going to be the 4th All-Star draft that we've done. We had the one at Dina's and then 2 at Buffalo Wild Wings in Fairview. So this is, we're slowly but surely getting closer and closer to that time of year. And like Ryan said, a lot of people are kind of depressed now. Holidays are over. The weather can be crappy at times. But if you're a hockey fan, this is, especially high school hockey here in Cleveland, this is a good time of year, the best time of year getting ready for Barron Cup.
Yeah, it's always a fun time. You get to see great high school hockey, local high school hockey.
Yep.
Players are right there. They always enjoy the coverage and enjoy the stands being full. You'll see a lot of energy out there, and we look forward to covering it. But we'll continue to give you updates in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. Just go to sportsontap.podcast.com, and we'll give you the information there on our Twitter page. We're all over social media. And our YouTube, we archive all of these shows on YouTube if you want to replay them throughout the week. Guys, it's been a great show. Great to be back. we'll be back with we're a bi-weekly show now, so not next week, but we'll have the following Thursday, I believe, is where we'll be at. So
perhaps, we don't know,
7:30.
Studio J, or perhaps from
Maybe.
RRT
Yet to be
Studios?
determined.
Yeah, yet to be determined yet, but we'll
Make
figure
sure
that
you
out.
follow our Twitter page at SOT Podcast.
Yep.
And we'll let you know when we're broadcasting next.
All right, guys. For Sean Duffy, Ed Dick, who's out on assignment, Josh Jeffy, and all of Z's Cream and Bean, we want to thank you for listening to Sports on Tap. I'm Rob Troutman. We'll see you later. Have a great week, great weekend, everyone. See ya.